And welcome everybody to the premiere show, Royals All Access. And today's premiere show with myself, Brian Stanley, joining me, head coach of the Mission Prep Royals football squad, David Schuster. Coach, let's check in with you first. How you doing?
Doing good. We're in playoffs and excited for the chance to compete.
And let's first check in, state of the union of the team. It's been a rough year, a lot of injuries, a lot of pull-ups from the junior varsity squad. Um, a lot of adversity with illness and the food bug and everything, but this team just keeps persevering and pushing through. A tough season probably is your worst schedule, well, your record on schedule 3-7 so far, and you're looking to improve that as you go into the playoffs. So it's not done yet. You can definitely improve on it and build on a better record. Coach, let's talk about the state of the team.
Yeah, on paper, it has not been an easy year. Um, but I will say I knew going into this year this was going to be had the potential to be tough. It was a very difficult schedule, um, especially in the back half of the season. And I knew we were very young and very undersized. And so the focus all year has been on culture and pressing forward through adversity. And so, which was partly why we made the theme forward, just kind of in anticipation of, some hard times and not dwelling on them and continuing to press forward in a positive way. So, what I've been extremely thankful for and impressed with is first off the senior leadership. It has been absolutely tremendous. I've equated it very similar to, it's not identical, but it's very similar in terms of the hands that were dealt in terms of like Caden Chaney in his senior year, which was the spring COVID season. And Chaney was dealt a set of cards outside of his control that were kind of unfair. Never was given a year, was never given a chance to go to playoffs, was given, hey, you get 5 games and that's it. That's your senior season. And he was the only senior on that team too. And likewise with this group, there's 8 seniors. Um, Dealt a very difficult hand. They came in with anticipation as freshmen and sophomores that, oh man, hey, we're gonna continue right along with more Colby Whites and more Mario and David Lueras and more RJ Essmans and that didn't happen. And so what they were tasked with their senior year was as the rebuild really kind of kicks off, starting with their senior year, and the rise really, the success is going to be more next year. Their job this year was, hey, you've got to relay the foundation, and we're going to do everything we can to get every win we can. But your job is somewhat an unfair one, which is you've got to lay the foundation for future success, much like Caden Chaney had to his senior year as well. The difference being these kids get a chance to go to playoffs. They earned the right to go to playoffs, and get another week to compete. They got 10 games, and they got a full season. And what I've been so deeply thankful for and impressed with is they haven't flinched from it. They haven't blinked. There have been, some days or some weeks where they felt frustrated and angry, and rightfully so. And we've been very patient with them as they've kind of worked through that. But um, I felt like the culmination of that really was last week, where we've had 3 straight hard losses, just back to back to back weeks, just kind of physically getting thrown around a little bit, just in a tough spot there. And then we kind of go into the AG game, who's the strongest out of that whole group of games, and we get food poisoning that night going into the game. And the team's response, but the seniors' response especially, which was, there's no question we have to play this game. And they rallied up. They had so much positivity, um, going into that stadium, going into that environment, knowing there was really no pathway to a victory, and we were physically depleted. And they had more joy and more excitement and more energy on that field than any other game we played this year. And I just found myself marveling at the seniors, their leadership, the underclassmen rallying up to the senior leadership. And and so I mean we walked off the field against AG, we lost 42-0, and everybody on the outside would look at that score and go, okay, whatever, they lost, and not have no context or understanding of what actually took place. Where these young freshmen and sophomores and juniors are moving the ball up and down the field, and the seniors are actively rallying the team with them. And I kind of felt myself going, we've had 3 really good weeks of practice. We've had 3 very hard games. And I've been very thankful that this team has really bought into this idea of the outcomes are not going to change our process. And they're not outcome based. They're not focused on the outcomes. They're truly focused on, is the locker room clean? Are we practicing the right way? Are we talking the right way? Are we operating the right way? Are we glorifying God in what we do? And not every team that we've had has been that way. And I found and there have been teams that have had more wins that did not operate um, with the intensity on the details like this team has. And unfortunately, they just don't have the bodies this year to make that all happen. But I will say, I found myself so deeply impressed, so thankful for this senior class. And I can tell you any future success that we have, and I fully expect we're going to have a lot of future success here starting next year. Um, the first and foremost area for credit will have to go to this senior class and everything that they did, the foundation they laid, and the way they have really just done an incredible job of making sure all the underclassmen understood what it means to be a mission prep football player. And I've just as hard as the years, as hard as the weeks have been, um, man, I'm thankful for what this team has really done.
And coach, I want to pick out a couple players this season to spotlight. And the first is going to be your quarterback, Jackson Marsalek. He started out very green in the pocket, first season at quarterback, and you could, as a varsity player, and you could see that. And as the season progressed, you could see him find his own, find his confidence, and find his command in the pocket and be that presence that the offense needs. Talk about how he's matured and grown through these first 10 games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jack, and most people don't know this. Um, Jack did not get an off season to prepare as a quarterback. He prepared all off season as a tight end and a linebacker. And then once we got to camp week, um, the way the progression was going with the quarterbacks, um, we felt like Jack Marsalic might be able to do some things. And so we threw him in there a little bit um, during camp week and just to kind of see what it would look like. And it was from a command standpoint, from a control of situational thing standpoint, um, arm strength obviously is there. And just a number of other factors as well. I won't get into. Um, just felt like Jack really elevated a lot of things that we wanted to do. And then you could also kind of see the future there too with Jack, where Jack could really turn into a dude at that spot. And so we made that move. Um, we made it in camp week, and Jack had never really played quarterback before, had no off season to prepare for it, didn't really get the summer to go through 7-on-7 and learn his progressions. And so we purposely kind of made the move, had the big talk with the seniors about it. They were all on board with it and understood exactly what we were doing. Um, and it was pretty much unanimous support that, yeah, no, he's the guy, and we agree with it. We want to go to battle with him as the quarterback. And so um, once we kind of got their approval on it, we kind of pressed forward, and Jack Jack obviously struggled, the first half of the year, and I've been very much like the rest of the team. Jack has been consistently, I mean, just he stays after practice. He's working as hard as he can. He's doing everything he can to maximize his reps. And I feel like we're finally starting to get to the point of the year where you can see the payoff And I'll use the AG game. I felt like the AG game was his best game. There's two interceptions that he threw that were not his fault. And I found myself just going, he's seeing the defense, he's making the right read, he's throwing the ball accurately, he's throwing it on time and with some power behind it. His feet are finally getting to the right spot. His elbow and his delivery is getting there. And it's starting to kind of come together. So, and it's been a lot, several weeks of work to get there. Um, but I feel like the rest of the team can see it and feel it. We've watched him do some things in practice that okay, everyone kind of marvels at a little bit, and some deliveries and some throws and just some athletic plays that he can make in practice, and it's just getting him to feel confident enough to make those plays in the game too. And which it's starting to come, and so I'm excited and excited to see what it looks like this Friday too.
And then my second is going to be Seth Orozco. This kid's been a beast all season. He has a safety for you. He has a touch, a blocked field goal. He has our blocked punt. He has a slew of accolades this season. I can't even
Mhm.
go through them all without the notes in front of me. Forgive me. Fumble recovery that he took back almost went for six if he could have got one more block off front of him. Uh, Seth Orozco just trying to put in work both on defense and offense for you. Anywhere he can find a groove to help the team out.
Yeah. I mean, Seth has, I'm gonna give Seth a lot of love. He's had a hard year. There's been a lot of pressure put on him. He's had to command the defense, which is a hard thing to do as a sophomore because you're just trying to learn how to do your job as a sophomore usually. And now you're also tasked with, and I got to get the rest of the defense lined up too because he's the Mike linebacker. And so it's a hard job. He's had to do a lot of stuff on offense too with the fullback position that we put him in. I found myself again just being so appreciative of his work ethic, his desire to be great. He's never flinched from it. He's taken some hard coaching and gotten himself better. And he's put himself in a position where I think he's going to have just an absolutely monster junior and senior year because he had to really go through the sophomore year struggle a little bit. Um, and all of that being said, he's made some incredible plays this year. Like you said, he's got a ton of extra things, forced fumble recovery, an interception, safety. He leads the team in tackles, and it's not even close. He's on pace for over 100 tackles as a sophomore. The last kid that did that was Mario and David Loera. By the time they were seniors, they were all state linebackers. And so, not trying to put that expectation on Seth, but just to say that Seth is rising at a rapid rate and doing remarkable things. And he is one of many, many kids on this team you look at and you just start laughing, going, sophomore, 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 freshman, freshman, sophomore, sophomore, junior, junior, sophomore, freshman, all key impact players for us and making plays and doing special things. And which is what excites me so much about next year. Because like, man, the whole team comes back and they got a lot of reps against some really hard competition and they learned how to play varsity football. The struggle and the heartbreak about this, I guess, is the seniors had to go into this year with such a young team. And, especially for a young man like Ronnie Kardashian, who, I've got a lot of personal love for Ronnie. He's a very special young man. Um, and I do believe the Lord tasked this senior team with this team in a specific way because I think the mix of all the seniors, there's some really intense kids, there's some incredibly soft-hearted kids and empathetic kids, and then there's a bunch of kids right in the middle, and it has just been a perfect mix for how to orchestrate and lead this team. And I mean, I can't say it enough. I'm gonna say it till I turn blue in the face. How much I am impressed and thankful towards this senior class and the leadership they've done with so many key impact players who are really, really young and having to learn lessons that the seniors learned 2 years ago. And they've been patient and they've been steadfast. And I love this senior class. I'm gonna love them for the rest of my life.
Coach, I feel like you're just writing the show for me because you already know my next thought, which is talking about one individual of the senior class, and you've already mentioned him. And I feel like every team has a player that exemplifies what this team is about. And when I go back in history, I think of the likes of a Harrigan or Kowal being those players that when you think of Mission Prep football, you think of that player from that season. And this season, I think of Ronnie Kardashian being the player that emphasizes what Mission Prep football is all about and what you're trying to teach this team and what you're trying to instill in this program. And he's the leader of all that from the top down. And talk about his leadership and what he brings to the table as a captain, along with the other four, including Joe, uh, Ethan, and Aaron, all in the mix with him.
Yeah, I think Ronnie's one of the most dynamic leaders we've ever had. Um, he is fearless. He's fearless in conversation. He's fearless in the locker room. He's fearless on the field. It's a trait that not most kids don't have, where he's um, confrontation does not bother him at all. And he says sometimes things that I'm thinking, but I'm not necessarily going to say, but Ronnie's just going to say it. And he's got a very special place in my heart. He's a remarkable leader of men. I think he's got some leadership traits now that most men, grown men, don't have. And uh, he's he's unafraid, man. And um, when he's wrong, he'll absolutely own it and accept it. And but most of the time he's right, and um, he challenges the team. He motivates the team. He just does not tolerate anything less than everyone's best. And so I find myself just very thankful for him, man. He has raised the standard of the program, and it hasn't necessarily shown itself with the outcomes, but the daily process and the way things are done this year is directly attributed to Ronnie and the fact that Ronnie won't accept anything less than everyone's best. And Caden Chaney, his senior year, is the only senior on that team, um, was the same way. He refused to accept anything than everyone's best, and he would challenge everyone in the room if they weren't doing it. And then that very next year, that next team was the 2021 team that, just went on this huge monster run, plays Lemoore, and we lose to Bakersfield in playoffs, in the highest bracket we've ever had. That team, I think, was so good largely because they saw the standard set and held their junior and sophomore year by Cheney. And so it just became habits that they all had to abide by because Cheney wouldn't accept anything less. Likewise, Ronnie won't accept anything less than everyone's best. And so these are habits that are being ingrained into this young team that is going to pay dividends down the road. And so this is where I think this senior class is so special, where Ronnie is, man, he's hard. He presses everybody. He doesn't tolerate anything but everyone's best. And so on the other side, you got Aaron Bauer, and Aaron Bauer is incredibly kind and empathetic and loving. Um, he's the resident pastor in the locker room. And so if Ronnie is going to be hard cop or bad cop, Aaron's good cop. And he comes alongside, puts his arm around every single kid, rallies them up, cheers them up, gets them moving again, and kind of motivates them in a positive way. And sometimes kids need both. And then right in the middle, you got Joe Villa and Ethan Ferralis, who, yeah, I mean, they can be hard at times, but man, they love the locker room. They love the kids. They love their leadership position and have done an excellent job of one, growing themselves, but then also kind of balancing in a perfect way where at the end of the day, man, if Meaty walks in and he's mad, well, the whole locker room's mad, and if Meaty comes in and Meaty's happy, the whole locker room's happy. Like that's he's kind of got that influence in the room, and that's you kind of balance all those things that way. It creates a really special dynamic. And then the rest of the seniors have just done an awesome job of supporting the four in their leadership role. And the four in those leadership roles have done a great job of not undercutting the other seniors, but actively promoting them and supporting them. And which is again signs of very healthy signs where, sometimes you've got four seniors who are captains and it's, they're now king of the locker room and they sort of dismiss the other seniors. And that's an active battle you have to fight some years. We have never had to fight that this year. Those four captains fully understand and respect the other four are right there with them and actively supported their leadership. And I think the younger kids have watched it, have seen it, and observed it. And again, these are habits and lessons that are being learned as a young team that will pay dividends down the road. So I just um, think the world of these kids, and I wish more people knew and got to see what I get to see every day, and just the admiration I have for what they're doing.
And coach, always time for the curveball. We're going to play a moment of fantasy football for you. And in the realm of high school sports, if you were building a schedule out, say 2 or 3 years, and you can pick an opponent that you haven't played yet in the state of California, and it was a fantasy team, you want to play them for whatever reason, whether you could win or lose, or it's the coach or the players or the atmosphere, the stadium, what team would you want to line up on your roster? This is purely fantasy. It's not something you're actually going to do. But purely fantasy right now, in the realm of a schedule, what team would you want to pick, and would it be a home or away game? Meaning, would you play it at
Hmm.
Spanos or would you play it at their stadium based on maybe because you want to play at their stadium?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like going down to play at La Playa, that's a great place to play.
I think there's a couple that pop in my head. The first one I'll say, I'm just,
It's all fantasy. Don't
no,
don't.
I know, I'm gonna kick it off. I'll say number one, San Luis Obispo.
I like that.
They won't. They've consistently found an excuse not to play. Um, and we are going to get a chance to play them here real soon, which I'm excited about. I think our whole community is going to be excited about. But I think any opportunity where we can have that rivalry game going, man, there's so much natural energy there. It's great. I love it. I love those kind of games, that environment. So I'd love a chance to really kind of compete yearly, I think, against Low. Whether we win or lose, I just think the game is so great
Yes.
and so awesome.
The last
You
time it was
know,
in the backyard was awesome.
it was great. We need to play there. We need to play that game there, and then come back every year, or we just play the game every year at Cal Poly. I don't know. I don't care. We'll play in the middle of the street. I could care less, but I just think it's such a good game. I got a lot of respect for the head coach, for Pat Johnson. I think
Yes.
he's done a great job. I think he's a very respectful, very honorable man. Does a lot of great things, but just from a community and a school and a rivalry standpoint, man, like we got to play that game. And so that's the first one. I think the other one, it's a revenge game. Is I'd love when the roster's right. I would love a chance to redeem our loss against Kennedy. And we lost to him in 2022 in the semifinals. We knew going into that game, the winner of this game's winning CIF, which made the heartbreak so intense. And that team was so good. And that's Colby White and the Lueras and RJ Essman and Cole Tanner and Tyler Garrett, and JJ, and that's their senior year, and that's how we lost. That's how we ended the season. It just, that one hurt. And if there was a chance at some point with the right roster, uh, to go get revenge, and I'd want that one here in the backyard just to reset it and just get it going the right way. So that's another one that you know
Good
I'd
picks.
love I'd love to get that one back. So
I like those picks, Coach. If you're still with us, hit that like and subscribe button. This is Royals All Access premiere episode with David Schuster. I'm Brian Stanley. Coach, final question of the day as we head into the playoffs this Friday. Mission Prep Royals hit the road. I almost said today, but this Friday, Mission Prep Royals hit the road. to Shafter, the home of the Generals, for the first round of Division Three playoffs, number one versus number 16, live only on the NFHS network. We'll make sure you find those links on social media. Don't worry about that. And coach, let's talk about the Generals and what they bring to the table as a top tier seed in Division Three and how big they are at 9-1.
Yeah, I mean they're the number one seed for a reason. Um, they are very good. uh, Incredible air attack. Their quarterback has great arm, great athlete, great accuracy, places the ball in great spots. He can get the ball to all parts of the field, which makes him very difficult to defend because you can't lean coverage one way or the other. You got to respect all parts of the field because he can get the ball there, and so that makes it it's the same way that made Colby White hard to defend and Darian Minsa hard to defend and some of these other great quarterbacks. That's the problem when you got a kid who's got arm strength like that. You can't start cheating coverage in any direction. You really have to stay disciplined, which means, you're going to have gaps and holes that start to kind of naturally develop. And so we've got to really play great defense. We've got to tackle really, really well. I've been really impressed with how we've done so far in practice. Again, the process has been great. Um, but yeah, this kid's impressive. Their running back, number two, is going to Boise State. I mean, he's a D1 running back. He's got all the tools, all the intangibles, quick feet, very powerful, great vision. He's got great burst in the hole, so once he picks the lane, he's bursting straight and he's hard to tackle, he's hard to bring down. And so we're really gonna have to rally up and we're gonna have to get all 11 bodies on him just to make sure that, we're limiting his carries. Offensively, they're in their 4-4 defense. There's some things that we can get after and attack. But they're good. They've been good for a long time. They've won a couple of titles, I think. Been in a couple state title games. And so it presents challenges. The one thing I'll say that I am excited about is, styles make fights, and our styles are very different. And there's no secret we like to run the football. Um, and they certainly know that too. If we're able to run the football and consistently control the clock, that's going to give us a pathway to kind of do something pretty crazy in the second half. Um, and so if we're able to control things, control the line of scrimmage, have no penetration in the backfield, we don't even have to necessarily move the line of scrimmage. If we can just control the line of scrimmage and reduce any penetration in the backfield, and then have consistent throws and accurate throws from our quarterback, which it looks like we're getting, um, that's going to give us a pathway to keep the offense moving, keep the offense on the field. And that's going to give us a pathway to win the game. And so far it looks great in practice. I've enjoyed the energy that they've got. Um, and we're excited to pursue that pathway and see what happens. Regardless, I'm going to say, you know, these kids have earned the right to go to playoffs. They scratched out 3 very difficult wins. I'm very, very proud of them. Very hard schedule to do it against with a young team. The 14th straight year they've made it to playoffs in this program, and I could not be more proud of this group that actually got it done and pulled it off. And they've earned the right to compete against the number 1 team, and we're gonna take every single shot we have to try to win this game. So I'm excited about it.
As I like to say, the Royals are bowl eligible. Just rolls off the tongue a little bit better than playoff eligible,
Mhm.
bowl eligible. But the Royals this Friday, 7 p.m. kickoff from Shafter High School in the Central Valley. Join us on the NFHS network, only on the NFHS network. We'll have the link for you on all social media, Mission Sports TV on X and Instagram. And for David Schuster and Brian Stanley, thanks for being with us on the premiere episode of Royals All Access.